Denver Summit are shooting for the NWSL attendance record, a college team without an American, and we count down to kickoff with the New York Cosmos. That and much more on today's Friday edition of Morning Kickaround. Hello and welcome to the show. You found your way to Morning Kicker on the show that dots the map of the ever-changing American soccer landscape. My name's Robert Kerr, local soccer guy, and to my side, as always, my partner in the show, Jason Davis, radio soccer guy. How you feeling this morning?
We made it to Friday. Very excited to get into what we've got today on the show. I think we're dipping our toes into a bunch of different waters. We've got a countdown to kickoff today with the New York Cosmos. Excited to talk to them about what's new as we get closer and closer to their debut in USL League One. I know we've got some soccer under construction. We'll check in on a couple of projects that we've highlighted in the past. We've got Ultras doing stuff, mixing it up over there in the Discord that I think we're excited to talk about. Rob, there's too much going on. Let's go.
Yeah, it's definitely a Grab Bag Friday. Lots of good stuff, lots of news updates, and otherwise, before we get to the meat and potatoes of the program, February 18th, 2 Wednesdays from now, it is Morning Kickaround's first ever marathon stream Kickathon 2026. We're going to have some special guests, some returning favorites, and some new big names. We're going to have some games, and we're also going to do a little bit of fundraising.
I don't know what's going on. I think everybody's trying to click stuff. That's my fault. I will take responsibility for what's going on there. But I think there you go. There you go, Rob. Continue.
There's our guys. Kickathon 2026, February 18. Special guests, games, best of moments. Ask us anything. A couple surprises in there and some fundraising, helping us set the platform for what we're able to accomplish and where we're able to go with this show this year. Big year for American soccer, of course, for a multitude of reasons. And it'll be entertaining, fun, and hopefully we raise some funds to do some cool stuff.
Yes, that's the goal. That's the goal. So, yeah, let's deliver that content today. And I think after the show, we'll mess around with the Ultras and dotting the map and tell people more about what's coming up.
Yep. At the end of the show, we'll dot the map and maybe play around with Morning Kickaround kit design concepts that have been thrown out there. And then we have Eric Stover at the top of the hour. But let's get into the news. Let's kick off our day with long ball here on Morning Kickaround. Kicking off with some good news, the Denver Summit had their first media day. They are an NWSL expansion side kicking off this year, and they are going for the all-time season or a ticket sales record, boasting 40,000 tickets have been sold for the opening game in March. They have a soccer-specific stadium project in the wings, but they're going to be playing at the big stadium, the Mile High. 40,000 soccer fans rooting on the Denver Summit.
Yeah, this is obviously a big deal for them to have, gone so been so big initially in the marketplace. Collecting that much attention is something. There were some thoughts around the way this unfolded from the NWSL expansion perspective. Rob, did they give this franchise to the right people? How did it happen? The price tag and things like that. But undeniable that there is demand in Denver for women's soccer. Now, I don't want to do the thing. You and I became aware of the image on the right, which is the Denver Nuggets doing a crossover with Denver Summit, a jersey that they're handing out, I guess, at the Rockets game on March 11th. That's got, not only does it have the Denver Summit logo right in the middle, and it has their green and gold color scheme, or their green color scheme. It's got a topographical situation happening. You can see the little squiggly lines, right? That's a topographical situation happening, I'm assuming. I mean, the Rapids did do a topographical jersey a while back. I actually own it. It's called the Class 5. It's very, very nice. It's not that green. It's still too light, if you ask me. But my point is that people are going to make this about the Rapids. right? John's making it about the Rapids. In other news, the Rapids home opener will have 10,000, right?
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
And I think that that is the wrong way to look at this, right? Not that what the Summit do has nothing to do with what the Rapids do, or that if you're a Rapids fan and you're frustrated by the direction of your club, you can't be a little bit more frustrated because look at what the Summit are doing, right? They're able to get 40,000 people to come out for their home. Now, people love a big event. Let's keep that in mind, right?
Spectacle.
The Summit they want to build their own stadium and it will not have 40,000 seats in it. That will not be their target, right? So this is kind of a one-off. We saw it. Look, I'm wearing an Oakland Roots shirt today. Remember when the Oakland Roots put 20,000 in the Oakland Coliseum?
I think 25 even. Over 20.
We were like, oh, that's great. Did they get 25 again, Rob? Did they keep drawing 25?
No, they didn't. They had a couple really big games at the beginning, but it tapered off through the season. Are you saying that might happen here?
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to get 40,000 every time out. It's an incredible achievement to get even close to that, or to have 40,000 for your opener. And again, that's something to build on. I guess my point is, let's keep it for what it is. Let's keep it in context. It's a success story for the big debut. But after that, enthusiasm will naturally drop. And I'm not blaming anybody here. Enthusiasm will naturally drop, and it will be on the Denver Summit to find a way not to get 40,000 out every time, but to continually make waves in Denver soccer, put a good product on the field, and get people to come out and support them at the 10,000 fan level, which would put them in the upper echelon. I think that would maybe be number one in NWSL attendance. What was NWSL attendance last year? Average.
The bang average NWSL attendance.
Well, I just mean by like who led the league in attendance in 2025. Like you have Angel City playing in a 22,000 seat stadium at BMO. You've got Bay FC playing at PayPal Park, 18,000. Washington Spirit play at Audi, that's 20,000. Like they're not drawing that. Okay, here I actually do have averages. All right, Portland drew 18,000 per match in 2025. Angel City got 16,000, Spirit 15. So if you get above 10, you're in that top half and you're one of the best in the league. And I imagine that for the first season, Denver can do that. And I also like the basketball crossover.
Yeah, basketball crossover is pretty fun. And I put this under our category of American soccer being weird, but with all the crossovers between musical artists and sports teams, it almost isn't even that weird. It's not even unusual. It's not even unusual anymore. And so they're boasting the 40,000 tickets sold. The current NWSL single game attendance record is 40,091, set just last year at the Washington Spirit and Bay City game at Oracle Park in San Francisco.
Yes, they did that in the baseball stadium and got 40,000 and change. Denver's probably going to break that record, which again is an achievement, an incredible thing. And again, so far so good in terms of what Denver Summit is doing in the marketing areas, getting people excited for women's soccer in Denver. I will point out that Colorado is like the hotbed of developing national team players. You've got I'm going to blank on maiden versus married names, so give me a second here. But
Lindsay Heaps,
Mallory Swanson from Colorado. Sophia Smith, what's her name now? She's from Colorado. Like there are a lot of Coloradans in the U.S. women's national team picture, and that speaks to the popularity of the game there. Wilson, thank you, Sophia Wilson.
Yes, exciting times out there in Mile High City. You're talking about there were some questions about did the right people get the franchise, and there was a little bit of a shroud of mystery. And there's also, I saw a couple articles saying that the way they got the land for the future stadium, there's a little bit of clever politicking and the use of zoning and how different land was categorized in different things that would make it beneficial for somebody to reconstruct it. But we shall see. Shoot for the record of 40,000 in Denver at Mile High Stadium as they work towards their 14,000 soccer-specific stadium in the years to come. In our second long ball story of the morning, there was a follow-up labor negotiation meeting between the USL and the Players Association, and it's a pretty quick update. It's been status quo. There was no new developments. According to the USLPA, who returned a message saying that there was nothing significant to report from Wednesday's meeting. I don't know if you have anything to add to that. We're going to try to get some guests to get an alternate voice. We've heard from the Players Association, the league, as is the tactic of management. They don't really need to say anything, so they haven't. And so we're going to seek an outside voice next week to dig into what kind of tactics we might see and how these negotiations will go as we get closer and closer to the season. We're just over a month away from kickoff for USL Championship, and no combined bargaining agreement is in place.
Yeah, I mean, again, as long as they're showing up to meet with each other and talk, then the season can start. The previous CBA can be still in effect, and we won't have a stoppage and we won't have an end to the momentum that USL is building. But again, if they're not making any progress, if what we're hearing from our sources, if what we're getting is, and let's just be very, very honest here, Rob, we're hearing these things from the player side, because the league side, they ain't saying nothing. They're not out there publicly giving us any update at all. Now, that's the general way of things. You don't usually hear from management. You'll hear from labor, because labor is trying to claw some extra, benefits or get something from management, because management's fine with the status quo. Why would they say anything? The only move that comes from management is when they get frustrated enough to lock out the players. I don't want to say this word, and I don't think it's going to be an issue, but you have to wonder what the appetite for scabs is on the part of the USL, right? If there is some reason for a work stoppage, whether it's the players striking because they don't see progress, the league is obstinate, or you see the league decide, nope, you guys are asking too much, we're locking you out. How quickly could USL get a new labor force up and running? I don't think it would be good. Let's just say that.
Well, I mean, preseasons are going on. They've been signing new players. It seems to be, if we weren't engaged in this and knew that this was going on, this negotiation was going on, you'd think business was as normal. But clearly it's not. And yeah, can you get a scab workforce in that? And yes or no question to round out this topic, would bringing in replacement players cause a mainstream uproar in the American sports world?
You and I would yell about it. Lots of people who cover the game would be upset about it. I think there would be lots and lots of fans who would be upset about it. I don't know what that means necessarily for the what impact it would have. I would hope and I would presume that, because look, we're talking about lower division soccer in America. In order to be interested in lower division soccer in America, you have to kind of commit fully. Like, it's really hard to do this halfway. Like, I know there are probably families that go out to one game a year or something, but how much of the actual growth of USL is built on the back of fans who show up every week, or are hardcore supporters who do the tailgates, who do the events? We saw them in Albuquerque, Rob. I've met them all over the country, in San Antonio and other places. Like, these people, they really love their teams. Whether they love soccer or not, it's kind of secondary. They love their teams. They love the civic identity it provides. If you took the players away, would they say, nope, this is not right, we don't like this? And how much damage would that do to USL? I don't think it's worth the risk.
We'll see how this plays out as the pressure ramps up as we get closer to kickoff. All right, let's move right along. We have a culture war. Let's deal with it here on Morning Kickaround. Welcome in, Culture Wars here on Morning Kickaround. There was a little hubbub online this week as college rosters came out, and Missouri State breaking a record that some in the college world will not be happy about. 28 internationals on the Missouri State men's soccer team. And it says here, becoming the first ever D1 school to have 0 American players on the roster. We had to fact check that. Is that actually true? Is there 0 Americans on this D1 soccer team?
Well, I'm looking at the roster right now as published to the website of Missouri State, the Missouri State Bears. This is the 2026 men's soccer roster led by Michael Seabolt, head coach. I'm going to guess Michael is, well, I shouldn't guess. Let's see. Where was I want to get the coach's background before we kind of dive into the team, because I wonder if that informs anything. He went to Trinity University. He is American. Michael Seabolt's an American dude. All right. But this roster, now, you look down the list: Leicester, England, West Kilbride. You're more Scottish than me, Robert. Is it Kilbride?
Kerr is a Scottish name, and Kilbride is pretty on top. And my dad chimed in on our Welsh pronunciations, and he said that Jenny was pretty close the other day.
Okay.
That's
Leicester, West Kilbride, High Wycombe, Madrid, Hull, Liverpool, Valencia, Kaizuka Shi, Valladolid, Bodo, Norway, Constancia, Portugal, Japan, England, Portugal, Spain, England, Italy, England, Ireland, Netherlands, Canada. Interesting. Italy, England, Canada, England, and one player listed as being from Bridgeport, Connecticut, Chris Hull. I went back and checked him out a little bit, and it turns out he was born in Jamaica, but obviously ended up in Bridgeport, Connecticut. So you decide. Now, he's probably American, like he's probably a citizen. I don't know. I didn't check up on that. But in terms of like where they were born, it does look like Missouri State has a roster entirely made up of foreign-born players. Now, the question, Rob, the thing that is swirling around our heads right now is this a problem? Is it a bad thing?
Is this a problem? Is this a bad thing? I'm sure there's some people upset about it because, it's a state college and it should, colleges for Americans. And there's a whole xenophobic area of this, but it goes down to the core of it. What is soccer college actually for? Is it for getting results, or is it for developing players for the future? And if you go on this, it seems that I know it. I've seen it in my work in summer soccer. There's more and more internationals because the player pool at the summer amateur level is 80-90% in college players, and those are becoming ever increasingly foreign. And so college coaches, it seems, are prioritizing winning, and they think that they can win with international players.
Yeah, look, Marshall won a national championship with almost entirely a team made up of internationals. I think there were a couple of Americans in there. We just talked about Vermont, how great a story that is. Lots of international. Now, they had some Americans. I think Vermont actually had a healthy dose of Americans, but it was interesting. Now, or who just won this past one? We just had one crowned in December. Who won the national championship in December? Was it?
It's Vermont.
Vermont won the one in December? Was that right? Was that last year? Okay. Yeah, I guess I'm catching up. Yes, sorry, you're right. Okay. Here's my thing. And I'm going to bring in Riverside Grove. I'm not usually this guy, but this bothers me. I'm not exactly sure why, but I don't like it. I think that is a reasonable, complicated feeling about something like this, Rob. And here's my thought. So, does Missouri State have any obligation to field American players? Washington. Thank you, Paul. I knew I wasn't going crazy.
It was the year before. It was the year before it was Vermont.
That's right, Rob. See, time. It's a thing. I understand Riverside Grove here because Missouri State has no obligation to develop players. Missouri State doesn't gain anything if one of their players goes on to play for an MLS team, a USL championship team, make the national team. No, there's no benefit to except for like, oh, look, we did that. We had a hand in his development. Look at us. We'll put his face on some stuff. That's about all you're going to get out of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not nothing, but it's not necessarily an incentive to bring in American players if you think you can be better on the field by offering the opportunity to come to the U.S. and go to college and play soccer to an international player. So the incentives here are part of the issue, right? Now, I saw a comment earlier. I don't think that person was an ultra, so I'm gonna hold off on putting the comment on screen. Become an ultra. Get your comments on screen. But the idea that college soccer is some sort of solution to developmental issues in American soccer, or that the structure of college soccer can provide the pathway to develop more players, because right now we're hit and miss. We got a net that's got a bunch of holes in it. Players don't have clear pathways and everything because not everybody's got a pro team that's invested in their academy, things like that. U.S. Soccer wants to change this, or they've at least proposed ideas around finding ways to better incentivize colleges or create structures that allow for development to be part of the story here. Now, again, I think you have to find a way to make it so that the colleges feel they are benefiting directly from lifting up American players rather than just going international. But I can't say Missouri is doing anything wrong. Missouri State, rather, is doing anything wrong here.
No, you can't, because it's all about the incentives and the benefits. Like the coach doesn't get a bonus because he got an MLS player, I'm sure. I mean, I guess it depends on his contract, but that's not typical, I'm sure.
Here's the one I wanted to put up. PSU to DCU. Every foreign-born does, however, remove a college scholarship for a U.S. player. Why does the U.S. player have more right to that college scholarship than an international player?
Good question.
Now, again, this is a state school, and I suppose you could come back around to the idea that you mentioned, which is a state school supposed to serve the people of Missouri. And if you're giving scholarships to foreign-born soccer players, are you not doing enough to serve the people of Missouri? That's a different kind of thing, right? I don't know. I mean, again, this is what we're talking about. Public schools are partially funded publicly by state taxes and giving scholarships to international players. I think that's part of the issue. Yeah, I understand that. I do understand that part of it. But if we're talking about just the soccer part, right, they're under no obligation on the soccer side to be a home for American players to play college soccer.
And this story is specifically about D1, and I think at lower levels that this has already happened. Like NAIA schools, they pack them with international players. And I've talked to colleges here, college coaches locally who, they want to win. They want to keep their coaching job, so they want to win games. And they feel that the players with international experience are the best way to do that. And that's amongst the reasons why it's so difficult for the American domestic player to get anywhere, because, the club system is pushing them into college, and then there's less and less chairs in the college. And if you go to college, that's not necessarily any sort of guarantee towards a professional career. So the path to pro for the American soccer player, not super clear. And you touched on it earlier, still waiting on response to the white paper and that group that put all those proposals to revolutionize college soccer is still pending, and we should hear something about that here during the month of February. With time an issue, we want to recognize we got a new member in the group. Welcome aboard. So thankful to have you. Thank you to all of our ultras.
Rob, I'm going to do it to you again. Can you tell us the name of this new ultra?
Ari. That's my guy, Ari. Chivas.
All right. That's, Arriba las Chivas.
There you go. That sounds so good coming off your rolling tongue there.
Yeah, I like that one. All right. I also got Jay Hunt gifting a membership. Hey. Shout out to Jay Hunt, our Lexington guy. But so Ari is the one who said earlier, Arriba las Chivas, is the one that said earlier that this kind of blows up the bubble idea of this being a solution. Again, you're going to have to reform college soccer for it to truly be a development solution.
Yeah. All right, let's move right along. We're going to go to Soccer Under Construction here on Friday's edition of Morning Kickaround. Soccer Under Construction here on Morning Kickaround. We've got two updates of projects we're tracking. First to Northwest Arkansas, as Ozark United kind of came out with a little bit of a press release talking about where they are in the development. And they are saying it's not a delay, it's a timeline reset there.
Yeah, I mean, that's massaging the language of this thing. I don't know. I want to give all of these projects the benefit of the doubt, right?
Yeah, because we want them to happen.
We are talking about difficult things. Like, it is tough to launch a pro sports enterprise, a pro soccer team in a place like Northwest Arkansas. And I don't want to be one of those judgy people's like, well, why'd you even try? What are you talking about? Northwest Arkansas? What are you even doing? No, look, we talked to Chris Martinovich on the show. I don't remember when we did that interview, Rob. It's been a minute. Right? It's been a minute since we had Chris, on the show, and they outline. He didn't say this is all going to be easy or everything is going to go exactly as we planned it, or he didn't say any of those things. He just said we have a plan. We'd like to do this, or we're growing. He mentioned the growth in population in that part of the country largely because Walmart is based in Bentonville, which is part of this region. So I don't want to be too judgy, but let's just, again, look at the timeline here. When the club first launched, the target was to begin play in 2026.
Ambitious.
Club co-founder Chris Martinovich acknowledges the timeline was ambitious, but remains confident in the long-term plan. Quote, "We made the best projections we could with the information we had at the time, but community interest grew so quickly that our initial site became too small almost overnight." This is again saying, actually, this is good because we had a problem because so many people were interested in pro soccer in Northwest Arkansas that we had to reset our plan on stadium size. Pivoting rather to a larger site allowed us to think bigger, which ultimately serves the community better. But that means they have to find money to do this, Rob, right? They have to find a developer. They have to get somebody to step in. You can be like, oh, we got so much interest that we need a bigger stadium. But if you are not actually making, if you're not got shovels in the ground, all of this is just speculation. All of this is just dreaming at this point. None of it feels very real.
Yeah, there's a lot of pieces in the puzzle. Obviously not an easy project, but they have the people, the management and part of the group, and then they've got some land that they like. But and the part of the press release, when it says the realistic path forward, it shows the part that is missing from the scenario. Quote, "Our focus is on finalizing the ownership group and development partners who will make this a long-term success story." And what does that say? There's a major funding still needed to make the plan a reality here.
Yeah, that's part of the issue, right? All right. So look, Ozark has a hiccup. There's a good article on this, a long, detailed article on this over at NWA Daily, if you want to go read up. I know we got one more to get to here on Soccer Under Construction.
Yeah, that's a good resource, NWA Daily. And then in similar tense, and someone already went into the chat, Buffalo USL's project with a reassurance that they are still moving forward, not too far apart from the Ozark update, is basically saying we're still on track for 2027. Just bear with us. We are still pushing forward is kind of a paraphrasing that I'd use for this one.
Yeah, I mean, I pulled just one part of this story over at the bizjournals.com, Buffalo Business First. I thought this was interesting because they outline some of the delays here. They had a stadium site picked out. There were some chemical issues, fumes in the air because it was next to a plant, PVS Chemicals facility. The PVS Chemicals company didn't want them to build this. So then they had to move. They don't have a site yet announced. It's kind of radio silence here, right? Pete Marlette Jr., who we had on the show, I think a couple different times. Certainly we interviewed him, around the idea of that original stadium site. He says they still are confident that they can play in 2027. They want to build a modular stadium, and they think they can get that done in 8 months. And if necessary, it can be done in 4 months. That is super ambitious. That is a lot of promises that are going to be difficult to keep. I clipped this part because it reads, news broke in 2024 that Marlette had secured the rights to bring a USL championship team to Western New York. And then here are the main tasks it will take to make it happen based on the USL standard. That's how it's written in the piece. And then you can read them on screen. It involves the principal ownership. It involves a stadium lease. It involves governing documents. I mean, a lot of this, though, is really passed through U.S. soccer. Right? These are professional league standard things. So what's interesting to me is that this was included in this piece. Now, maybe they just pulled again, it says USL standards. I just thought that was interesting because, again, we're talking about the big plans that USL has around their 3-division setup and promotion relegation, Rob. And I just thought it was maybe a little bit of information towards where we are headed when it comes to requirements for some of these clubs.
Yeah, updates there, and glad to see they are insisting that they're going to play in the new year rather than any sort of open-ended delay there. So good resource there, bizjournals.com there for that Buffalo-related story. We've got our guests waiting in the wings. So real quick, thank you to our brand new members. Thank you to our donation for Mr. Bob, as he has become a traditional donator on the show. And if you'd like to, follow along, subscribe, become a member, and then get your comments on screen during these live streams. All right. Our guests are waiting for us as we are 36 days away from kickoff for the New York Cosmos. With 36 days until the return of the New York Cosmos. Was it 35? Did I say the wrong amount of days?
No. I'm just, because Eric and Sebastian are trying to get their shot correct. We got to squeeze two guys into a narrow window. So, no, you're doing great, Rob. My apologies for railroading you there.
With 35 days or so until the return of the New York Cosmos, we're now joined by CEO Eric Stover and one of their very first signings, Sebastian Guenzati. Welcome to Countdown to Kickoff on Morning Kickaround, gentlemen.
Morning. How you doing?
Morning.
Struggling to get my fat face into the shot here.
It's, you guys are busy. I understand. We don't have professional. We don't have a professional studio for you at the moment because you guys are in the midst of getting ready. 36 days away from home debut against Portland Heart Supply. We're here to talk about just an update on everything. Obviously, for Sebastian, it's what's going on the field. Eric, you may have some stuff beyond that. But I know you guys went to San Diego, so why don't you tell us a little bit about what that Cosmos trip to San Diego entailed and what you got done there?
Yeah, I'll start and then we'll get the veteran players' perspective. But for us as a club, we needed to get out of the Northeast. It's obviously very cold and a lot of snow. If you follow us on social, you see that we have to plow the field, and it's difficult. Anyway, but San Diego's beautiful. We went to Chula Vista Elite Performance Center, sharing fields with Olympic athletes. So I think it was a special experience, top class, very professional organization. And then for us, we're just across the border from Tijuana. We're able to go down and play Cholos. And then had a match against SDSU as well. So I think it was a really good 10 days away in good weather and focused just on soccer.
That sounds like getting into the warm environment sounds absolutely incredible there. Sebastian, you spent last year in Detroit and now you're moving to New York. What has that process been like? Are you fully moved in there? How settled are you?
Yes. Fully moved in with my family, a place where, I grew up around the Queens area. So to me, it's very familiar. And no, we're just happy to be back. And I'm happy to be wearing the Cosmos badge once again.
Well, is that Sebastian, you would have grown up in Queens when the Cosmos were more an idea than anything else, right? I mean, we had the NASL version. Obviously, Eric was involved with. So what was the Cosmos name? What did that mean to you growing up in Queens playing soccer?
It meant a lot. Obviously, my parents knew about the Cosmos way before I did. Obviously, great players have played here. So, it's been an honor to come back and wearing the Cosmos badge and representing it with pride. It's been a long time since I've been here. So it's like a dream come true to come back.
Oh, so and on the field, in terms of the preparations under your new manager, and obviously playing in San Diego with the season right upon us, how do you feel about where the team is?
No, it's been great. Going to San Diego was a great experience for a lot of the guys. A lot of the guys are young, so we have to get to know each other. But we're building a great chemistry. The guys are willing to learn to keep learning. So. For me, it was a great trip, great experience playing against Tijuana, a top team from Mexico with great players. So it was a good experience for everybody.
Yeah, was it kind of like a measuring stick for you guys?
Yeah, I'll take that for a second. It was kind of, I happened to travel on the team bus down, and it was kind of fun to see all the young guys as we pull up to their stadium, 30,000 seat stadium. They never played in anything like that before. And they all get their phones out and they're taking pictures. And we, you know, of course, went straight to the field to take a look. And it was a great moment for them, many of them to sign their first pro contract, to have that first pro experience. And then to be playing a Liga MX team in the middle of their season against mostly their starting 11, and we're only 10 days into our training camp. It was a massive, massive test. To be honest, I was terrified. It was a bunch of adult professionals. Some names you guys all know, guys first team, starters on national teams. And so it was a huge test, and we did very, very well. We finished 1-1 at halftime, our starters against their starters, and we had possession. We weren't just parking the bus and kicking the ball. We played out of the back. You guys did an amazing job, and the young guys really stepped up. I mean, you don't know what you got until you start testing it, and we saw that we've got some really bright stars in this roster.
Sebastian, do you think of yourself as somebody who has to help those younger guys along? You've seen some stuff. You've been around for a bit. So, I mean, is your role a direct leadership role? What kind of guy are you in a locker room?
Yeah, for sure. You know, like Eric said, it's a lot of guys that are signing their first pro contract. So it's not easy, you know, coming to a professional environment, you know, coming out of college or just playing club teams. It's another level. So, you know, I'm always there for if anybody wants to talk, ask me questions. You know, I had roommates in San Diego, which was great because, you know, you get to meet the guys a little bit more. And just being a leadership in the team for sure.
And that's what we were thinking when we signed Save It First.
Yeah.
You know, when you're building a team, you want to build it strong through the spine. As a goal-scoring forward, he does that for us. He understands Cosmos and culture, won 3 championships, came up through our youth system in Queens, and so understands all that, understands the expectations. You know, you went with us to Hong Kong, to El Salvador, to Cuba, did all of those things with Pelé. So he's been everything that we expected him to be as a leader in the locker room and on the field.
Yeah, that connection between that iteration and this one, I imagine, is important. I forgot you guys went to Cuba. Eric, I forgot that was a thing. I do remember that now. And so in terms of like how you think this is going to go in North Jersey, and Eric, you and I, we have talked to you about this. Sebastian, Seba, do you have a sense of, you know, the response, you know, to what soccer can be in Patterson, in Hinchcliffe, with, I know, you know, obviously you've got some people from Jersey very embedded in this club. So what has that been like?
Oh yeah, I always knew soccer is huge in New Jersey. You know, growing up in New York and playing against New Jersey teams, they're really strong teams. And the whole community is really involved into soccer. So I think it's a great chance for the Cosmos to come in to New Jersey and, you know, hopefully get a big crowd and get guys, you know, kids behind the team. They're just getting to know the Cosmos, and that's the main thing. If we can target, you know, the youth systems and club teams, you know, and give everybody a chance.
And just to add to that, a month or two ago, we had an open tryout, just straight open tryout. All you had to do was sign up online. And we had some really talented players turn up. One stood out, a 16-year-old from North Jersey. Didn't know who he was. No one recognized him, and he did extremely well. And he's playing with Giuseppe Rossi's academy right now. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him on the first team within the next year or two.
Wow.
There's just so much talent here, and it's in New Jersey DNA, footballing culture. So we're just trying to tap into that, be good partners with the youth programs that we're working with.
That's an incredible find, a 16-year-old. Wow, what a diamond in the rough to find. And that's great to hear that there is a lot of talent in and around the area still. Is obviously it's a traditional talent pool there. You talked about bringing the soccer to Jersey, and we're about 36 days from the opening match. You're hosting Portland Hearts of Pine. I'm hoping that we get into the building details a little bit more as the series progresses, as we get to the kickoff date. But what is the site looking like? How are things coming together for this to be the home of the Cosmos?
Well, there's an awful lot of snow there right now.
It's frozen where I am, Eric. I don't know if you guys are having to like chunk out the blocks.
Yeah, we could use a couple days of warm weather to melt the snow, but yeah, we're just getting into our marketing and advertising campaign. It's really grassroots approach, canvassing neighborhoods, putting signs up on light poles, going door to door in the bodegas and the nail salons and the liquor stores, and making friends. Our billboards rolled out earlier this week, so the buzz is building. We're doing well with social media, getting a lot of traction there. So the momentum is strong, and we feel really good about where we are right now. And we have a really good business plan to manage. You can see on the screen our schedule. We have ideas and concepts multi-layered to help us sell every home match. So I like the plan. I like our staff. They're from North Jersey largely, many from Patterson, and we understand the market. So it's going well, like I said.
Yeah, that. So how you feeling? Like I said, 36 days to go. It's not much time to go, and we have one of our MK Ultras saying he's coming down with about 300 away supporters to help you guys welcome you into the league and into the building there, and that should be quite the way to open it, because I mean you are going to be an expansion team, and they were kind of the darlings of the league, so to speak.
Yeah. There's a lot to learn from them and how they built the club. I think I spoke to one of their investors like 5 years ago, maybe even 6 years ago, about the idea of Portland, Maine. And, they've really executed a plan. And then the supporters have responded. It's a model that I think everybody in USL can follow. There's lessons to be learned across the board. And it's going to be fun. It's like proper soccer. Have 300 supporters, visiting supporters in one corner, and then hopefully we've got 1,000 in our supporter section, and we've got that authentic atmosphere. And I think the league was smart to schedule this game, the first weekend of the season for us. This might be the last time you hear me compliment the league, but yeah, I think it'll be a great day, a great opening match.
I also want to update. I mean, we talked to Mark Jenkinson, the guy who helped design your kits, and he was not able to talk about the away. He was only able to talk about the home, which is nice. But the away's dropped, so we can talk about this a little bit. These are some of the images up on the Instagram for the Cosmos. I like this a lot, guys. I don't know, Seba, if you have opinions on shirts, like if you care what you're dressed in when you're out there, but this is a good look.
Yeah, for sure. It's a beautiful jersey. Obviously, the three colors that represent the Cosmos very well, also on the badge. So it's going to be nice to wear it.
Would you have ever thought that you'd be donning this? This is definitely part of the conversation.
Yeah.
I recommend everyone going back to that video with Mark Jenkinson, and he really gets granular with the process of creating that home kit. But we didn't get to dig into details. Is this the kind of look? I mean, you were in the previous iteration of the Cosmos. Would you have is this the look that you would have chosen? Do you like this?
Yeah, definitely. We've had great jerseys in the past. We've had a blue one, a little lighter than that one that I really love. And now coming back with another blue one, an away one, it's really nice for sure.
So obviously, again, we're getting closer and closer to the actual product being on the field, to you guys playing games. And I'll finish out with a question for you, Eric. You know, we have been talking about the plans the USL has to have a first division and have pro rel. You guys are in League One, so you're entering into the second tier of USL as it sits, but that would be the third tier eventually with pro rel. I imagine you have ambition to climb the ladder. We had somebody say, you know, the idea should be, or what they think is going to happen is the Cosmos are going to be one of the, you know, one of those key franchises, clubs rather, to populate that first division. That you guys will, because of the name of the New York Cosmos, that a lot of that league is going to center around your name. Do you feel that there's pressure on the club to sort of live up to something that may be important to the general health of USL down the line?
Yeah, well, I think always honoring the Cosmos past is a pressure that we welcome. When we were playing in Long Island, and Pelé was turning up to matches, and Carlos Alberto and Franz Beckenbauer, you know, you feel that, and that's a pressure we welcome. Look, if we get to the Premier Division, we're going to get there because we earned it, and we're going to have to earn it on the field. We understand that it's the expectation that we win matches, we win trophies, and now to get promoted. And what I don't think people realize, we talk a lot about promotion, relegation. Unless you've been in it, you don't really realize the pressure that comes every single day. You feel it when you walk into the stadium, at how important those 3 points are on the line, whether it's for promotion, relegation. There'll probably be some form of a playoff to get to one of the promotion spots. So those points matter every single weekend, and that pressure is far greater than the legacy of the club. We respect that, honor that, and we'll always do our best to meet it. But I think this is going to be a massive, massive game changer. Trust me, there are pitfalls, and if people are not prepared, there can be some mistakes if you're not. Even the second worst thing that can happen to you after relegation is getting promoted. It's not easy to be in a totally different league 30 days later, and the budget changes that come along with that. And so that's a level of pressure that we're all going to have to adapt to, and the Cosmos is just part of it.
Well, Eric and Sebastian, thank you so much for joining us here on Morning Kickaround. 36 days to go until the action begins there. Thank you so much for joining us here on Morning Kickaround, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
All right, New York Cosmos coming onto the scene. USL League One. Excited to see how. Yeah, clock is ticking indeed. Thank you for your comments. Chat, lots of great stuff in the way there. Some good conversation between viewers and the members alike. And if anyone is having some of a kind of a fractured conversation, there's a bit of a difference in the chat on the vertical video and on the landscape. So if there's some people not responding to you, it could be a little bit of a two different chat room situation rather than people ignoring you. Don't worry about that. The MK Ultras, good people, and the viewers, obviously. But we got one segment to go. Let's move right along and dot the map here with our Ultras here to wrap up our Friday on Morning Kickaround. Some good stuff here on Morning Kickaround. Thank you to the gentlemen from New York Cosmos, the latest edition of Countdown to Kickoff. Did you notice? Do you think they're getting some nerves in the mix there as the reality of this launch kind of comes to bear?
No, I think those are both very experienced gentlemen when it comes to what they do in soccer. Eric Stover, again, part of that previous Cosmos. Sebastian, part of the previous Cosmos. They've been in places where, they've kind of had to start up and build something. I don't think nerves are the issue. I think probably they're more anxious to get on the field than anything else, because as we have established with our check-ins on Ozark and Buffalo today, and you look around the country at some of these other projects and things that have been kicked down, cans that have been kicked down the road, until you have a team on the field, until you're playing games, it's not really real. Like it's not really a soccer club until you have teams playing competitive matches. So I think they're anxious.
And I thought that was good context that Eric gave us about how in awe that the young new team was when they saw that huge soccer stadium down there in Mexico, and how they were kind of reacting to it. And so maybe it's good to kind of get that shock out of their way early in the preseason there. But It is cool that, like each step along the way is a step up for players and the clubs alike. I do remember when FC Cincinnati was moving up the ranks and the coach saying, like, a lot of these players have never played in front of these crowds before. Like, there's been like a stage of development. Like, it's one thing to play in front of a couple hundred people, but when you have tens of thousands of people, it's a whole nother kettle of fish.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I do like the fact that Cholos plays in a building called Estadio Caliente. That's just such a good name for a stadium. It's the Estadio Caliente. All right. Anyway, really good stuff from the Cosmos there. Excited for their launch. Thanks to them for participating in Countdown to Kickoff.
Yeah, so we want to get to the Ultras here. We kind of round out our week with pinning, dropping some dots, pinning the map and dotting the map with our MK Ultras. We've got a couple of them.
Dotting the map, not pinning the map, Rob. Dotting the map. I clank the clanger. It's time to dot the map.
Yeah, we are here to dot the map, and we've got a couple new members. Let's start with Armando in Binghamton, New York.
That is not how you say that.
Binghamton, New York. Binghamton.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
What? Okay. East Coast Elite. Tell me how you say this.
Oh, look, I'm turning bright red. That was so good. Oh, that was so
Binghamton.
Good. No, but it was so natural. Like you just that was the way you read it. I love it. Until you know, you don't know, right? You don't know until you know. So there you go.
So you're gonna tell me, or are you just gonna hold it? I still don't know.
You got it right the second time. You did. You got it right the second time. You said Binghamton. It's Binghamton, not Binghampton. So all right.
I don't know. Northern New York. There's a lot of Hamptons out there.
You said this is Armando in
Armando,
in
and he provided us a nice little intro as well. He says he believes he's the first person from upstate New York. We can fact check this with the map up here.
Yeah,
he's a longtime supporter of Juventus and been following NYCFC from the start, and just got into the USL the past year or so. He's been following Portland Hearts of Pine enough that I joined their supporters group, the Dorigo Union, and also the Charlottesville Blues of USL2. He knows the owners, and he's glad to be part of the MK Ultras. Welcome aboard, Armando.
I love that. When upstate New York, do you know what sections of New York that is, Rob? You're very much a Midwest guy. You haven't traveled to the East Coast, so you know what upstate means.
North of the city.
Yeah, basically. Anything that's New York that's not in the city, pretty much. Yeah. So upstate New York, Binghamton. I actually have never been to Binghamton, but a couple years ago I took a trip with my wife to the Finger Lakes area, which is this area where you can see these long lakes that were carved by what are the big ice things called that come
glaciers.
Glaciers were
I like that.
Anyway, they grow a lot of grapes for wine. They make wine in that region. It's very nice. I should go to Binghamton though. Check that out. Shout out to Armando.
So our second dot to add to the map is Lucha, and he would like the dot put in Dothan, Alabama.
That is how you say that. It's not
Dothan.
You got that one right. I've actually maybe been to Dothan. I lived in Alabama a couple times as a kid. So, all right, who's in Dothan? Dothan
is Lucha.
Lucha, like that?
Yeah, Lucha. Lucha.
Okay, Lucha. Got clubs for Lucha, or are we just going with Lucha?
He is a supporter of Dothan United Soccer Club.
Okay, Dothan United. They play MPSL, USL 2. What do they play?
Let's see who's quicker on the Google machine. Which league does Dothan United Soccer Club play in? Who knows it? Schedule. Who are they playing? USL 2.
All right, there
Our
you
guy.
go. There you go. Dothan
Beautiful.
United.
All
Dothan,
right.
Alabama, South Central Division of USL League 2. In fact, look, there he is right there. This is Lucha. He
Ayo,
said that'd be
Patrick.
me. Because you can see, you went with Lucha instead of Patrick. Whatever you want on the dot. It doesn't matter, Patrick. Dothan United in the badge. We get the badge. You can see the badge. It's a dragon. Rob, it's a dragon. I like that. I like a
That
dragon
is
on a
very
badge.
cool. And USL 2, for those uninitiated, some of the coolest badges and creative
great
badges in the country.
Yeah, we should work USL 2 badges into our Kickathon show somehow, some way. I think we got to prepare that. Maybe it's just a flat out badge rating segment, like good badge, that's a 4, that's an 8. Like we can celebrate some badges.
We talked about it at the top of the show, but February 18th is Kickathon 2026. And part of that is really getting together and really setting the platform for the new year. And in my efforts to kind of get, why I brought that up is part of that is fundraising for us to get help on the show, to get organized, professionalize a bit so we can focus on the content generation, because there's a lot of outside stuff like building thumbnails, reaching out to people, booking guests, and then the whole business back end side of it. So we're looking to get some people to help us out with that so we can focus on the content first. And in an effort to get organized of our files for the show, I was organizing all the team logos, league logos, and all that. While there are some repeats, we have the files of over 125 different clubs, Jason. This is club logos coming out of our ears over here. And speaking of logos, our MK Ultras kind of were giving us some ideas. We've been banding around the idea of merchandise, t-shirts, and maybe a kit. And Mark from the Cosmos might be dabbling with a kit design that might be exciting to look to see if that comes to pass.
Oh, are you talking about things that aren't confirmed 100% yet? You risk the wrath of the soccer gods when you do stuff like that. No, I'm just kidding, Rob.
That's true. It's like Deuce in a Liverpool kit. I mean, we don't want to curse that.
Yeah, nothing is done until it's done, right? It's not really a soccer club until you got a team on the field. No, we are working back and forth with some people, with Mark Jenkinson about potentially doing a morning kick around shirt. He's also got that company that, what's the name of that? The group that he's got, Bastion that makes Sebastian FC. By the way, if you want to look up what Mark does in terms of making bespoke kits for people, BASTIONFC.com. So Mark reached after we had him on the show talking about the Cosmos kit. He was like, "Hey, do you guys want me to design something for you?" It's like, "Yeah, of course I do. Of course, that'd be amazing." So he's working on something right now. We're also working on other merch, which hopefully we'll have available to drop. Jay Hunt is saying no AI logos. Look, we don't have a lot of great designers over there in the Ultras, I don't think. John, I don't know if you're a designer. I understand what you're saying, though. This is why I'm partial to B. Rob, I'm partial to B. Even though A has some vibe, that there's vibes on A that I like.
Yeah, I love the exploding sun behind. I feel like that is like super morning. Like I would never be happier to roll out of bed with the sun just exploding like that.
I was trying to figure. I've been working on a redesign of some stuff, not the logo necessarily, but look. A lot of this is just we just did what we could when we launched this show because neither one of us are designers. Yeah, and
true.
And so I've been trying to figure out a way to get sun rays involved. I love the ball rising with the sun rays. If people remember my old show, Soccer Morning, it was that was the logo. It wasn't as I don't know what the word
Vibrant?
is. It was well, it was simplified. It was like very simplified, a kind of a ball shape with some of the geometric elements of a ball, and then very just basically rectangles coming off the ball like they were sun rays. I do like the sun rays idea, but I am partial to the second one because it's got Franz Peckenpower on it. It's got we were established in 2024. Technically, we started in 2023, but it's okay. 2024. Well, you and I were doing stuff in 2023. Rob.
No,
24. You're right.
24. Sorry. I feel like I've forgotten. I was trying to describe 24. Somebody when the MLS calendar change was going to happen, and the year describing what year all these things are happening or have happened is.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Difficult.
It is 24. That is correct. That badge is correct. I forgot it was 2026 already. So
yeah, that's what it is.
That's what it is. C is not my vibe. That is very, very obviously an AI produced item, and I'm not into that. But the first two have something. The first two have something. And then yeah, I'm seeing in the chat, combine A and B somehow. How
Like
can we
add
do
some sun rays to the B design, perhaps. But I think the appeal of B here is the simplicity.
Well, you could take Franz as in complete silhouette, Franz in complete silhouette, and put him in front of the ball with the rays on A. You could try that. I don't know. Do you like the roundel? I think that's what it's called. The roundel vibe.
Yeah, I think I do. I'm the shape of it, as long as it's on the breast and not centered. That's about my only badge, real big hang up. I don't like a centered badge. Anything that's on the breast is good. Roundels are nice. I mean, you'll see above my head, the OCFC jersey, very good roundel there. That's where I'd favor, but I'm not too picky about the actual shape. But you were saying maybe, the designers, maybe getting some flack for the AI, but I'm just going to say it's fun. One of the upsides of the Discord server is that we get to kind of play around and throw these ideas out there. And I love that people were making those suggestions when we're talking about merch and possibly a kit.
Yeah, I think simple is usually the way to go. Like I actually just saw something over in the Discord. I don't know. I don't want to bring it in and blow up anybody's spot, but we have a channel over there for people that are creating clubs in their own areas, and I've seen this badge that is next level detail on this badge, and it is incredible to look at. But I just think, in terms of recreating it, might be a little difficult to port it over to various elements and things like that. And this is a good point from Random Dude. Every time you add a color, you add cost to making a shirt or a jersey or anything like that. So if we keep it relatively simple, we keep our costs down, and then of course it has to be good. It has to be it has to be nice and have a style to it. But yeah, I'm kind of partial to B.
Yeah, the ultras know what they're talking about with the adding colors adds cost. Like originally OCFC had a very specific custom purple color, but when they realized that merchandising and everything like that is so much more difficult if you have a custom color, they kind of fell back to the standard purple so that they could get merchandise and everything in that color. And so it's kind of details that we don't think about from just like a fan perspective. That, I mean, we talked to Boise when they're talking about all the way that the different kinds of patches than they had and what that would cost on the front end, and the added perks of adding cool elements versus how easy is it to produce and how expensive is it to produce.
Yeah, I was thinking about the history of purple, because you mentioned OCFC uses purple, which is a royal color in a historical context. That there was a time when you only could wear purple if you were of royal lineage. I mean, and you go back to Rome, and purple was made the most the purple everybody wanted to get their hands on, right? The most desirable purple came from the Phoenicians, who made it from a sea snail, and it took 12,000 sea snails to make 1 gram of this purple dye that was worth more than its weight in gold. It was the most desirable product in the world. Anyway, I'm just a history nerd sharing some stuff.
Just another footnote in the royals oppressing the little people in the world, right?
I guess, yeah. Here's a good question, right? What would our shirt sponsor be? Like, and do we go with like kind of a jokey shirt sponsor? I mean, we can't put a real company on there. We might get sued for that, right? I don't know.
Unless it's the real shirt sponsor.
Yeah, unless we get a real shirt sponsor. I'm gonna dive into my shirt collection for just a second. So just on that idea, but go ahead, continue.
Yeah, so in lieu of there being a shirt sponsor, our initial thoughts of it were maybe dot the map across the front and where a shirt sponsor might be, but having a kind of like made up thing might be fun. I mean, some of my favorite kits like Rumham FC, who did they have on the front of their kit? I'm trying to remember, there's some kind of jokey companies, but the front of the kits sponsor definitely plays a huge part in how much you enjoy it. I still remember, I don't know if it's on camera here, But the first ever Liverpool kit that I ever saw when I was growing up, from the 80s, their sponsor said candy. And so I was excited. Like, there's a soccer team that literally is sponsored by candy, like sports and candy giving me more. It was less fun when I found out it was like a power company or something like that.
This was my thought when we were talking about that. This is like, I think the first ever Asbury Park shirt. You know the story about Asbury Park, right, Rob? We've talked about this.
I know that they're a faux soccer team, right?
Yeah, so faux soccer team, probably the original fake soccer club, right? Created by my friend Sean Francis. If you're an old head like me, you remember Sean was MLS insider at one point, working for MLS, kind of creating that idea of like somebody following the league around. And anyway, he obviously made this shirt. This is supposed to evoke Samsung, but it doesn't say Samsung. It says same song.
That's almost like an AI jibber jabber writing before that was even a thing or even a concept of a thing. But so what I suggested while you were digging for that, Dot the Map is the shirt sponsor.
Sure. Yeah. That's
did
absolutely
Rumham
great.
FC have a shirt?
I don't know
sponsor?
what that is. Rumham. Is that like
that was a faux soccer team, and it was
like Binghampton FC? I see.
No, it was Rumham FC's. It was a 2018-2019 thing. I thought it was they might have even made into a real pickup team, but it was Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Who's the older gentleman, the most famous one on there? But it's him holding like a Rumham is their badge.
Talking about Ben Franklin? Is that what you're talking about right
Always
now?
Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, okay.
Danny DeVito, the silhouette Danny DeVito holding a Rumham was their badge for that kid. That was
okay. I see. Okay. Anyway, no, that's
a little bit random.
Yeah, we'll come up with something. If it gets to that, if we need a sponsor, if we feel like we need a sponsor, we'll figure something out that fits the vibe of the show. Like whether it is sort of a faux breakfast food brand or a faux Waffle House or a faux Denny's, or maybe it's a I was thinking Taco Bell would be interesting because of the clanger situation, I suppose, something like that. Anyway, yeah, there's some options out. Chico's bail bonds, I like that one. I like that. You know where that's from, right? You know that reference, Chico's bail bonds?
Yeah, I remember. It sounds familiar, but I'm having a hard time pulling it out of the random access memory.
Bad News Bears, I believe, had Chico's bail bonds on their shirts back in that movie, right?
That gave me a bit of a throwback, having kids with kind of inappropriate shirt sponsors. When I lived in Chicago, we lived in Humboldt Park, and there'd be kids teams with Modelo and Corona shirt sponsors, which I always thought was odd. They were probably just children's recreations of other shirts.
I mean, you go out to those Latino leagues, and they've all got sponsors on their shirts. Like there's a middle school right behind my house, and when they play, I'm always like, oh yeah, oh, wow, okay, you got a big name jersey, a big name sponsor on your jersey. So
All right. If anyone else has got anything, throw it in there now. Just a couple minutes left, but I want to reiterate one more time before we get out of here. February 18th, Kickathon 2026, our first marathon stream as a show. So we're going to have some special guests. We're going to do some games, have a bit of fun, and some surprises. And in part of that, too, we do want to have the merch up and rolling by the time we're doing that. So that could be part of the whole fundraising effort and just the excitement and kind of just get us to some more eyeballs and level it up. And hopefully we will have the merch that we've been teasing for quite some time.
I will. You know what? I don't know if I'm risking something here, and we still have some I's to dot and some T's to cross in terms of scheduling. But right now, I'm working on Max Bretto's coming by. I believe he's going to come by and talk to us about whatever's on his. Max is a character. Great listen, great chat. And I think Hercules Gomez is going to come on the show too. I'm working out that. So both those guys have semi-committed to joining us. Did you do that? Did I do that? What just happened?
I did nothing. I did nothing. Jenny wants to really put shine on the MK Ultra's creativity.
And she can do that if she wants. Sure, why not? I just didn't know if that was something we should be paying attention to. Oh, there we go. We had
That's
a kicker.
That's the one.
Okay, yes. We had a StreamYard issue, which happens all the time. All right. Anyway, all right. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah,
Come
yeah,
for
yeah.
the Kickathon. That special guests we're popping names onto the sheet right now, getting ready for that.
All right, guys. I think that about does us for the week. Thank you for your support. Thank you for becoming new members. We got a couple new members during the show. Bob, as always, chipping in, and thank you everyone who supports the show. From just telling a friend, hitting that subscribe button for free, or becoming a member. Thank you for supporting the show in any which way you can. All right, we will be back on Monday for another great episode and another great week of Morning Kickaround. And until then, everyone stay safe, stay brave, and enjoy your soccer.